Joe.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
A little confused here. I'm pretty sure first rule of being on camera is to not wear a hat. I know you like to be branded, but might need to take the hat off here, bud.
Matt, I'm going to tell you something. You know, we were just together out in Ohio doing the camps. Man, I got my brand new 2021 FBU hat, but I put that no sweat stuff in there, man. I don't want to take it off. Dude, this was so comfortable. I still have my pristine white hat after 2 days of camp. Not a sweat mark, not a stain on it. Man, it is so comfortable. I put this in. I took a couple extras and put them on my other hats too at home.
Atta baby, Joe. The smart man.
Dude, I'm telling you, the soft padding in here, and it kept the sweat off. I'm like, I don't feel like taking it off. My wife's like, we got to go to church. I'm not that. Can I take it off? I don't know. But anyway, the no sweat stuff, great. So, Matt.
I think it works, right, Joe? I mean, shoot, I used it this weekend too. It's great. We had our coaches using it. Players can put it in their helmets. It's been a game changer, I know, for our coaching staff. I mean, we used to go through multiple hats per weekend, right?
Yeah.
Just sweating right through them. So it's been great to save them. Obviously, you know, you saved yours this weekend. I've saved a couple of mine. It's nice to not have to throw any hats away anymore.
No doubt. All right. Well, fair enough. I will abide by my rules.
Thank you, sir.
That way we've got good lighting. We can see everybody's face, and we'll rock and roll. So with that said, Matt, man, it was great to see you this weekend in Ohio. We got to finally get out and roll out. For me personally, got to roll out, do some camps. It was exciting. It was awesome. But before we even talk about the camps, we had something else going on this weekend that was pretty darn cool for some of us veterans of the FBU brand that's been seeing some kids for a while. What went on, Matt?
I think there was the NFL draft, Joe, which is always a big weekend for the FBU fan. And this year it was bigger than ever. Cannot get bigger than the #1 pick in the NFL draft, which is what FBU family member Trevor Lawrence was. It was great to see somebody that we've known since a young sixth grader travel through our path and trusting us to make him a better football player. Not saying that we did everything. We certainly were just a part of Trevor's path and put him in a position to capitalize on his immense talent and work ethic. And it was great to see him go #1. I mean, you had Trevor Lawrence, you had Najee Harris go in the first round as well, another FBU regional camp alum. I mean, we had 8 alum in the first round, 13 in the second and third round. I mean, 45 overall. It was an amazing weekend. I mean, I kept hearing, I don't know about you, Joe, but I kept getting updates and having parents come up to me in Cincinnati and Columbus going, wow, I didn't, I'm just following you guys on social media, seeing all these guys that have went through the path. I mean, it was amazing. Did you get that a little bit when we were out in Ohio too?
Man, it was tough to focus on our jobs and responsibility to make the camp run smooth and kids here have a great experience. Because yes, I was getting the ding notifications. I had followed on ESPN. I'd hit the notifications that if this athlete got mentioned, I'd get the da-da-da on my phone, and it was going off all day long. It was just great to see some of these kids, regardless of what round they went in. It was just, that they had achieved a lifelong dream that they had been really, thinking about since they were young, 5th, 6th graders. Some guys in our national championship were, played on some of our national championship teams where got drafted. Obviously, we had a ton of guys that went to the combine. Obviously, the camps. We have a ton of the All-Americans that, usually your top picks that come in. But, man, we had about 13 just in the overall first 2 rounds. I think we were second or third round overall. So it was great to see those later rounds because that's where we saw a lot more of our alumni because we knew already the guys like Trevor were going to go in the first or second round. But it was those 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds that really was exciting to see some of our guys come off the board and achieve that lifelong dream. And then even after that, we had another slew. I don't even know, probably another dozen or so signed free agent contracts. Which to me is just as good, if not better, than what I'm hearing and then getting drafted in the later round because you have a little more control over your contract obligations. But regardless, it is just awesome to see this. And then the whole weekend, just all the videos of their families celebrating on the draft when they get that call, or thanking all their coaches and people and their support, like you mentioned, that they were all part of that recipe of success for them. It was awesome. It was really a great weekend.
It's a powerful thing, and we at FBU just cannot be happier for the young men who were able to fulfill a lifelong dream. I think Joe, another thing that it goes to is, being a part of something early does matter. Not saying that if you're a part of an FBU camp that you'll get drafted. Not saying that if you get evaluated and ranked by 24/7 Sports, who's at our camps doing those things and giving you a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, that you'll get drafted. But the proof is in the pudding. If you find ways to get better early, if you get seen early, and continue to massage yourself up those rankings and get better on the field, which is the most important piece for your high school team, for your Friday night film, then maybe you'll have a shot. So we're just thrilled to be a part of the journey, like you said, Joe, and congrats to all these guys. And now it's on to the next crop, right? The 2022 NFL draft.
That's it.
So let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to recap FBU Cincinnati.
Sounds great, Matt. See you in a bit. All right, Matt. Hey, great weekend in Ohio. Let's talk a little bit about our camps that we just did. So we were in Cincinnati on Saturday, Columbus on Sunday. Let's talk a little bit about the Cincinnati. Let's give that camp a little recap, love.
Yeah, I mean,
highlights of that
Joe,
camp?
we haven't been in Cincinnati in a long time, if ever, if I recall correctly. So it was great to get to a new location and find some student athletes that we hadn't seen before, give them the chance to shine. We ended up going to Princeton High School, home of former FBU regional camper and All-American Bowl on NBC alum and current Ohio State Buckeye, Paris Johnson Jr. It was great to see Paris. I mean, look, this is kind of what the FBU family is, right? You start with us, and then these guys, they come back, they help. Paris was an unbelievable teacher this weekend. I mean, just one of the best that we've had. Was able to give some great knowledge throughout the weekend to high schoolers and middle schoolers, mainly middle schoolers. It was great. We had the freshman All-American Bowl selection from Louisville. Austin Alexander stopped by, and it was great. You saw Paris working with Austin, an offensive tackle teaching a defensive end, how to beat him. And that moment was really special to kind of see the future and next up, right in one spot. But it was just great to be involved with Paris and Monica and his foundation. Obviously, Joe, when we talk about Columbus, we could talk about the Paris Johnson Jr. Scholarship Award that we gave out for Top Gun in Columbus. But his involvement was fantastic. Can't wait to have him at another camp.
He was great. I was, as I was doing a little bit of the social media stuff, just to see him. If you, didn't know anything, you just saw him, you thought he would have been coaching for years. He was able, the kid do a quick drill, do that rep. He pull him aside and really give that great attention, which I know for a fact the young kids loved, because it's not like it's an older generation guy like us that's given the knowledge. It's somebody that was in their shoes only a few years ago, and they were just, impressed. And his demeanor, the way he did it, it was just great. Brought a lot of enthusiasm and fun to the camp. And I think he had as much fun as the campers did. So it was great.
Yeah, and it was great to have him close out the camp, right, and talk to the kids and tell the student athletes and the parents about his foundation that gives back to disabled veterans and disadvantaged student athletes that need some support, whether it's emotionally or financially. He's just a great young man. And, huge congratulations to Monica, Paris's mother, who also helped us on site. She's just done an unbelievable job raising such a great young man. But yeah, Joe, we can talk about Paris all day, but let's talk about some of these middle school all campers. You can see them right here. A lot of young studs from Cincinnati were on site. I mean, you had Maddox Arnold's, Teron Davidson Jr., Calvin Harris, Michael Looney, just the full gamut of young studs. And they're 2025s through 2028s. Excited about this crop of young middle schoolers that were in Cincinnati. Looking forward to seeing them down at Top Gun this coming July 9th through 11th. And then, look, the high school group was big, Joe. Didn't know who to cut. Didn't know who to not give an award. They made it really difficult on us. We took about 2 per position at the high school level is kind of how we looked at it. We just couldn't find one. That's how talented it was. A couple guys to really call out. Linebacker Marcus Brown was a stud all day, 2022. You had somebody like Will Edwards, who played fantastic on the O-line all weekend. Jackson Sumner was a young wide receiver, 2024, that was making moves throughout the entire camp. So was a good crop of high schoolers, and we haven't even gotten to the creme de la creme yet, Joe. We haven't, and let's talk a little bit about that, Matt. Let's look at some of the top tier awards. We just talked about the all sweat team. All those guys got Top Gun invites heading down there, but there's that big event in January every year that really showcases the top talent for some of the underclassmen. And why don't you share a little bit about these 3 gentlemen? Yeah, I mean, these were the 3 kids, the underclassmen that jumped off the table, kind of going right to left. Defensive end on the right, Cameron Chimura from Pennsylvania, was a prospect that the defensive line coaches definitely highlighted and earmarked right away. Extremely raw, but polished at the same time. Already has some good moves in his, library of moves, kind of in his bank. So he's an intriguing prospect to look out for. Definitely not done filling out. In the middle, Ethan Grunkmeyer, quarterback. We've actually seen him, Joe, for a few years. He was at an FBU camp 2 years ago before COVID hit, and he has just improved and grown immensely. Hands down, threw the nicest ball there. Great touch and accuracy on the deep ball. The coaches were raving about him from the very beginning of camp, and it wasn't just the quarterback coach. It was all the coaches. We went around and we asked, and we said, who's the guy? And they just said, look, this kid can sling it. So, and then the guy that I'm most excited about, Joe, here on the very end, Phillip Daniels. I mean, just a beast of a man, almost 6'4", 240, extremely long arms, plays with a great deal of aggression and burst. And he's somebody as a 2023 who still has some time as a current sophomore to make some moves. I expect that as he continues to develop, very raw product, similar to Cameron, but as he continues to develop, he's somebody that could be a force to reckon with down the road. So a great 3 guys, couldn't be prouder, and I know that they'll represent well down in San Antonio. No doubt. And some of those guys were great. And I'm very curious to see the statistics from our Wilson quarterback challenge to see how well he threw against this gentleman here, who was another great standout from right there at Princeton High School. Yeah, I mean, look, the Wilson results are posted up on our website from every camp thus far, including Cincinnati and Columbus. So definitely go check that out to see the spin rate, velocity, check all that out. And this man right here might have been my favorite kid of the 2 days. Was not sure what to expect. He's the starting quarterback at the high school that we went to, Princeton High School. And the minute that we stepped foot on his campus, and make no bones about it, it was his campus, he was the leader on the field. People were looking at him, following him. He was encouraging everybody. In my mind, it was a no-brainer to name him the Soldier Sports, give him the Soldier Sports Leadership Award. He was just fantastic. And, oh, by the way, Joe, he can play. Yes, he's already got a couple offers. He does have some offers, some cool stuff like that. Yep. Yeah, I mean, he can play at the same time. All right, he's already got some Division I offers, and those offers are just going to continue to grow throughout the fall. He's a dual threat quarterback. Got that quick flick of the wrist. Ball gets out. Can make plays in space with his feet if need be. But what I like to see, Joe, is just his calmness in the pocket, and then when he's outside the pocket, he does throw the ball extremely well on the run. So
he did. I thought he was very
accurate. Be a threat with his leg.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very accurate throw, very consistent. As I was watching the Wilson quarterback challenge, I mean, everything was right, very consistent in the same area that he was throwing, and it was great. So between him and Ethan, it was tough. If you just kind of didn't see who was throwing the ball and watch the end result, it was tough to say, okay, was that the freshman or was that the senior? You know, it was very competitive, and both were just very crisp quarterbacks.
And they were helping each other out. That was great. No doubt. Mekhi was there to be a leader, and you know, that's a big reason why he went home. I'm excited to watch him this fall, that's for sure. But we got 2 more, right, Joe?
We definitely do. Let's start with our G Award winner, Deion Davidson.
Man, my man, right here, Joe. This was look. I don't care if he is a 4th grader, 5th grader, 6th grader. This young man is a 2027. He was the MVP of the camp. Okay. And it doesn't matter what age. This young man was making plays all day long. He's a 6th grade running back, Deion Davidson. Remember the name now. He ran routes like a veteran. He showed patience. He showed acceleration. He knew how to get open. He was playing with the high schoolers all day and consistently was beating them. You know, I remember Mekhi came over me, you know, after he threw a ball during 7-on-7 to Deion, and he goes, hey, this kid right here is the real deal. He's the truth, right? You know, quarterbacks were looking for him by the end of the day, right? You know, he was the go-to guy, you know, for juniors and rising seniors in high school to throw the ball to a 6th grader. You know, just handled everything extremely well. He is just somebody to have on the radar over the next few years, because I imagine we might be hearing his name in about 2 or 3 years, Joe, for that freshman All-American Bowl.
Oh, there's no question. And you know, it's interesting. You know, anytime I step on the field, you do a quick eye test. You know, you're looking, okay, who's got the height, who's got the size, stuff like that. Man, a little Deion's down here. And I'm a big fan of the little guys. Man, he was out there and he was toasting, breaking ankles on the high school kids. It was awesome. It was. And
the hands, Joe.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, catching
hand.
I mean, look, this is a 6th grader. And as everybody knows, middle school and high school don't play with the same ball.
No.
Right? They play with 2 different size balls. And this kid had no issues all day. Always catching the ball with his hands, always catching the high school ball. I just not enough good things to say about this young man. We could spend another hour just on him.
He was great. But we don't, because we're going to talk about Mr. Isaiah Foster.
And there he is right there. Joe, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it. Isaiah Funchess Foster is the best defensive back that we've had in the Midwest thus far this year. By far, he was the most complete defensive back that we have had, and that includes the camp the following day in Columbus, which he attended. But he was the total package. Great size, great frame, has the length to handle bigger receivers, has the strength to jam, has the fluidness and speed to play in coverage, and above all, on top of all of that, Joe, he was also a leader. It was great to see that in Ohio. He was very vocal, encouraging his teammates during individual, just telling him what was the setting the tone and the expectation of the day of his position group, that they were there to work. And he was there to work both days. And it was a no-brainer for us to have him be the high school G Award winner. He is a D1 Power 5 player, hands down. Now we just got to get him. Isaiah, I hope you're watching. We just got to get you to pull the shirt down. All right, brother? I mean, come on now. All right. Nobody wants to see those abs.
He was definitely the defensive hype man for the Columbus camp as well, because after I got to see him a little bit in Cincinnati, and then he came over to Columbus with all the other talent we had there. And, man, he was hyping it up on 7-on-7s. It was great, the one-on-ones, and he just transcended that leadership from one day to the next. So it was fantastic. But overall, Matt, I got to say, the Cincinnati camp, you know, again, first year there, tons of talent. You know, typically we're always been in the Columbus area for our Ohio camps, but it was great to hit the down south. We got some of that Kentucky blood coming up with representing, and it was a great camp.
It was fantastic, Joe. And I'm thinking, look, why don't we take a quick pause, come back, and talk about Columbus? How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan, buddy.
And we're in this wonderful stadium at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex.
2 in Ohio, we were snuck up to Hamilton High School outside of Columbus. Beautiful school there. Coach was great. Nice campus. And, man, we had about 150 great, talented athletes come into that camp. And it was just another great day in the bookend of the weekend in Ohio.
Yeah, Coach Varney over at Hamilton Township High School was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure, with the 150 kids out there, and we just saw it kind of at the break right there. I mean, look, we had a lot of kids punch their ticket to the Paradise Coast. And if that commercial doesn't get them excited, I don't know what will. I mean, I cannot wait July 9th through 11th. And there was so much talent in Columbus that is going to be joining us down there. I think OHIO, is going to be making some noise at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex for sure. But, Joe, let's talk to me a little bit about the middle schoolers and some of the young student athletes that were there. I mean, look at the all-camp team here.
So we had some great talent there at the middle school. I mean, these kids were coming in from not only the greater Columbus area, but from all over Ohio, some even from Pennsylvania. I mean, we had one kid from Vermont came all the way down and did some talents there. So there are some good standout kids here, Matt, that I think will represent well down at Top Gun down in Naples, the great state of Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, look, a couple guys too, Joe, just to call out some names. I mean, look, Jacob Davis, quarterback, 2026 was there. He was actually in Cincinnati as well, and you saw the improvement day over day. Noah Butsamzi, running back, he got a little injured heading into the second practice, but he was electric in the morning session. Aiden Jones, our G Award winner from Louisville, was actually back on the grind, working again, and once again was maybe the best running back there, and it does not matter about grad class. He had to be moved up. Vegas C, another good running back, Dean Morrison, Rocco Williams, Anthony Bropst, who we'll talk about later. But a lot of great players, but that's just middle school, Joe. Talk to me a little bit about the high school No Sweat All Camp team, because we had some studs, and you said from all over. We even had some boys from Cali.
Cali came up, man. This was awesome. They came in, and God bless them, they came literally off the plane from some of these guys who are now attending a prep school in outside of Columbus, literally from the airport to the camp, and showed up, and they showed up to play. There were some fantastic talent here from on both sides of the ball. You can see by the fact of how many guys in this had, combine tickets, how many going to the Top Gun, as well as some other real good standouts there. I mean, one of the kids that I really liked was the quarterback, number 22, Troll. He's going to be a fantastic player. He is a class of 2022. He's kind of reclassified a little bit, so he's a little bit older than some of the other kids, but man, could he sling it. He had a fantastic arm. I'm really excited to share the statistics that he was able to put up for the Wilson Quarterback Challenge on the weekend. And more importantly, but great young man, great leader. You would think he was an assistant coach on the field, pumping up the younger guys, taking the extra step after the play, or after the rep to coach up the younger kids. Very enthusiastic, very competitive, which is another great thing, because he was all fired up about making plays, whether he did it himself or somebody else on the offensive side. But he did a fantastic job and had a real tight spiral, tight throw, good feet. I'm excited to see him. And right now, 0 offers. He's talking to a couple schools, but, man, I think this kid has got the ability. He's got a nice 3.0 GPA. Had a good conversation with them. He's one of those great kids that when it's all said and done, he's going to look back on his life, realize that he had some challenges that he overcame, some decisions that may not have been the best ones to make, that he's overcome those, put himself in a good spot to change his life around a little bit. So I'm real excited for Trill and to see what he can be doing with his stuff.
Yeah, Trillion Harris. He was just a Trillion Harris 2022. I mean, just a smooth lefty, probably the best way to put it. Really knew how to throw a good deep ball. Was always connecting with his buddy Jeremy Naborn, Armand Scott, Joshua Laurie, a couple wide receivers that really showed out. One other guy that Joe, and you may remember him from previous camps, but had a young man named Carl Allen that was at the camp as well. Now, Carl has been, I think, coming to FBU since he was in middle school. He'd been to multiple camps, multiple Top Guns, always as a wide receiver. Carl spent this past Sunday as a defensive back. Never played it before in his life. but had heard from some colleges that they might like him at DB. So he did what he should have done at an FBU camp, which is come to our camp to learn how to play the position, right? And man, did he jump out the chart. You could see his ball skills on full display, his athleticism on full display. He is a special talent, Joe, from the state of Ohio, goes to Pickerington North. I'm excited to see where he ultimately ends up. He's got nearly a 4.0 GPA, so Ivy League's been on him, but we'll see where Carl lands, and whoever gets him is going to be a very happy camper. But, Joe, we haven't even, just like Cincinnati, we saved the whipped cream, the cherry, whatever the heck you want to call it, for the Sunday, for the very last. It's the last thing you put on. Talk to me about these combine kids, Joe.
Oh man, we had some talented kids going to be heading off to the national combine. Zaire Ruff, 2023 DB, great frame. May project a little bit better as a safety in college, but man, it was great to see him play. Great footwork, knows the game, very good FBI football intelligence. I like to talk about it. Knows where he is physically, can definitely overpowered some of the receivers that he went up to. Again, I loved his fundamentals. He had a great back pedal, ability to change directions was very good. That as well. We had Cole Olston, if I'm saying his name last.
Yeah, it's Olston. I had to ask his mom afterwards. It's Olston. Yeah. Very easy, right? Just
2023 linebacker DB. Very interesting, very intriguing prospect. He has the frame and the skill set to play a little linebacker and strong safety. Very strong upper body, strong hands. Was able to manipulate those wide receivers and RBs a little bit. And then I tell you what, he moved very well in space. He had great speed, showed off a lot of his athleticism. You even took a few reps at wide receiver and dominated on both sides of the ball. So, I think that's really going to be interesting for him. And Amir Simmons, another 2024 wide receiver. Fantastic speed. I think he's probably one of the faster guys we had at the camp in Columbus. Great route running, was able to easily had some great moves to create some separation, quick feet, some elite speed. But he was smart too. He knew where the soft spots were in the zone coverage on 7-on-7. And then obviously we were able to shift in that fifth gear and put on the burners when he was able to open up and run those deep routes. But again, great level, fluid in his route running. I think he's going to make some really good waves down there at the National Combine down in San Antonio. So great three guys that are moving on to some national recognition down in San Antonio this coming January.
Yeah, it was great to see Amir. His father, Antoine's just done such a fantastic job raising him, knowing them for a few years. But these three guys, Joe, you can agree or disagree, but I think in my opinion, it might be your opinion as well, this could be the strongest collectively in terms of combine invites at a camp that we've had in the Midwest. I think all three of these kids can be very, very strong players and have a very, very good showing down at the National Combine this coming January in San Antonio, Texas. So it was a high talent level in Columbus, Ohio, which is not surprising. Joe, now that we got the combine, talk to us a little bit. Man, this kid right here, middle school MVP.
Kalen Scott was a player. He was fantastic. 2025 linebacker, rock solid frame, built like he's a high school linebacker right now. And again, his height may be a little deceiving, but he has unbelievable range and a great arm length. There's no question he was overpowering the running backs and the DBs and the 7-on-7s when they matched up with him. His speed, his, again, FBI, football intelligence, be able to fly around, knew where the ball was able to read, the quarterback's movements to know where the ball was going. And again, I know people from Ohio don't like to talk about the place up north, but man, he is a top tier kid coming out of Michigan. Consistently made plays. And again, we had to elevate him to the high school group as a middle schooler because he was just balling out the whole time.
Yeah, he'll be a heck of a Rod Oden up at Harper Woods in Michigan. He's got a really great one coming in to the freshman class next year. And Kalen's in a great position. Rod Oden is a fantastic coach. He's had multiple National Combine and All-American Bowl on NBC players come through his leadership. So Kalen's in a good spot. look, he's somebody that is firmly on the radar for the Freshman All-American Bowl without question.
Yep.
So we're excited to watch his progress this fall. And Joe, finally, the last award of the day, this guy.
Well, this one, Taron Tayo, 2022 offensive lineman. Nobody knew. Nobody. This kid just walks in the camp, fits out the eye test, size, frame, like, okay, let me see what this guy can do. And did he not disappoint? Absolute mauler. Unbelievably physical. This is a Division I player. The top 5. I mean, maybe a little short than we needed, but he has the ability to be an interior lineman at any top-tier program. Very smooth with his feet, his hands, his hips, stay the ground. We're going to see some clips on him in a second. Was dominant in the one-on-ones at the end of the camp. I think hasn't been playing a long time. Got to chat with him a little bit. So he's still raw when it comes to his technique development, but the physical aspect of stuff is there. The size, the frame is done. And I still think he can grow a little bit more, put some extra true muscle on. He's solid as heck. He is a diamond in the rough there for anybody that's going to take him. And, he was dominant in the one-on-ones we had at the end of camp that you're seeing right there on the video.
He's your guy 3-4 years from now that's starting at a big-time college program that colleges are going to go, how do we miss this guy? Right.
Yeah.
He is that type of player. And I think your analysis of him, Joe, was 100% accurate. Exactly what you said. Maybe he's an interior lineman, hasn't filled out yet, but there's something there. And I'm excited to watch him progress. So congrats to Taron for winning the high school MVP. Looking forward to seeing you this July in the Paradise Coast in Naples, Florida. And Joe, we ended the day on Sunday with Paris Johnson Jr. talking to the student athletes, and we actually decided to do a bonus award, the Paris Johnson Jr. Scholarship Award Foundation, Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation Scholarship Award, where the foundation, just through our partnership with that, we are actually going to be scholarshiping a young man named Anthony Bropes down to this year's Top Gun. Anthony was somebody that was fantastic throughout the camp in Columbus. And Joe, talk to everybody who was watching, about not only Paris's foundation, but kind of his message at the end of camp that he had to the players and parents.
No, it was a great message. And again, Paris is a fantastic young man that we've got to know over the years, and his mother was helping us at the camp. It's just a great family. Again, he started the Paris Jr. Foundation. That is Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation.
There it is. There it is.
That is just, it's looking to help disabled veterans, give back to them, and then also underprivileged kids. And he wants to have kids and people avoid the situation or challenges that he and his family kind of faced maybe growing up a little bit. So we forgot his Twitter handle, Pass Your Past is his Twitter handle. We have the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation website that people can go and donate and learn more about the programs that he's doing right in the greater Cincinnati, Columbus areas from Cincinnati, but obviously now playing at Ohio State. So he's looking to really help, the underprivileged youth and disabled veterans in those areas first, and looking to grow it from there. So we really truly want to support his foundation in everything that he's doing. And we started doing that. Again, the nice part is now this young man's going to be able to go to Top Gun on his behalf to make himself better and improve that. So please, follow on Twitter. Pass Your Past is the official Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation Twitter handle. And then as well, you can look it up online. I know he's building out a new website. I know he's building some more things with it, but the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation is a mouthful, but it is
I love it.
What it's doing for the community.
Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation. It's fantastic. Now, Joe, I think that's it. Now we got that in the books, right? Hit me out, Joe.
I hit the wrong button. I was moving things around here. We got you back, Matt. Welcome back, Matt.
No, that's fine. You know what, Joe? I didn't want to hang out with you anymore anyway. I mean, I know I'm going to see you in 2 weeks, Richmond, Baltimore.
We're hanging out a couple weeks in Virginia.
I know. Look, everybody out there, we got 4 camps this weekend, Joe. 4: Chicago, Iowa, Atlanta, Birmingham. We are all around the country this week. If you want to sign up and be a part of this, go to footballuniversity.org. next time you can maybe catch me and Joe in person. I know you want to see the Joe and Matt Road show. I mean, or morning show, breakfast show, whatever you want to call this show. Okay. The FBU Huddle co-anchors. We'll be in Richmond, Baltimore, Joe. I'd say we fill that one up, right? We do a live.
That'd be a great time. Huddle. I'm looking forward to that, and that'll going to kind of springboard all of our Northeast camps with Richmond, Baltimore, rolling right up to Boston, Philly, New Jersey. So I'm excited to get things rocking and rolling up here in the Northeast, and I know our fans are too, because people are signing up and chomping at the bit, waiting for flyers and promotions and all that good stuff to come out. So make sure you get on our mailing list, because every day we're sending out unique promos, offers that usually for kind of a one day only. You may get a little love from one of our sponsors. You may get a little discount here and there. So make sure you're filling out a profile, signing up to be on our mailing list, subscribing to our YouTube channel, subscribing to our TikTok, our Twitter, our Instagram, as the brand's only growing, and the things that we're doing here at Football University are only getting bigger and better every week.
100%, Joe. Well, I appreciate the time. I think it is time to bid you and our fans farewell.
Nope. Hey, no sweat. I'm going to head off, and
we'll see you next week, Joe.
And we will see you next week at our FBU Huddle. Can't wait to hear how our Midwest camps go, and that big mother of a camp down in Atlanta that we always have every year with Eric Richards and crew. I'm excited to see, because that's where we discovered Trevor Lawrence was down in the Atlanta camp. Who's the next one coming out of there?
All right. Sounds good, Joe.